Hawks fans, welcome to the Round 12 live stream. Hawthorn versus Port Adelaide is coming up. We've got two new Hawks on the list. We've got a great win at Marvel to talk about and plenty of your comments as well. We want to know where you're watching and listening from, so let's start filling up that comment section as quickly as we can. Daz here. I've got Chris alongside me. Great man. How are you?
I'm great, mate. It's always an exciting time of year to add a few players to the list, so some interesting prospects there.
Mate, absolutely there are, and of course it's going to be a little bit of the show. It's not going to be the whole thing, but a huge congratulations to those boys. We'll talk about them in depth along the way. Got a few joining us already, filling up that comment section. Not going to lie, I got a little bit worried we weren't actually live, but there was a little bit of a lag. But my goodness, aren't the people coming from everywhere, which we love to see. Mate, I mean, you know what I've really enjoyed about this week is that the Hawks have slid under the radar beautifully. There hasn't been a lot of talking points. We've just been able to go from a great win to the next week, and there's been no frills, which has been really enjoyable as a Hawthorn fan who's also living in a delusion. So it's been good.
No, I just think it's been great for the players themselves to get that reward and, get to have the belief in themselves. So it's really good for them to, get two in a row and, the opportunity maybe for a third.
Mate, absolutely. I still remember Schwabby quoting to say winning is addictive. And I reckon the boys are just starting to get a couple of hits and, geez, aren't they ready to rumble? And I can't help but think, mate, what if we had gotten the Giants in the Adelaide games? I know I don't subscribe to this wanting to lose for draft picks nonsense. That's not what I'm about. But my goodness, mate, it could so easily be 5 and 6. And, geez, could you imagine the conversations we'd be having at that point?
Oh, exactly. Yeah, it's amazing. But I'm going to have to quickly interrupt just to give you an update. We are going to have one of our draftees come on live with us tonight. So stick around for that. It's a bit later in the evening. But, yes, definitely excited to speak to the new Hawk.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the two new boys is getting on board, which we love. Craig, normally from Perth, and now he's in Cairns, and I feel like that's showing off because it's about 12 degrees here and windy as anything. So thanks for that, Craig. Making me feel real good about myself on a Wednesday night. Let's start with the good, mate. I think it's good to get off to a positive note, and that positive note is a fantastic win at Marvel, a 10-point win that, albeit should have been 40, and then we probably should have lost it at one stage there. So those two met in the middle, and we got the 4 points, which was good to see.
It would have been shattering to, dominate that game in certain aspects and then come away with a loss. So it was sort of rewarding that we finally got the chocolates at the end of the game. But, yeah, I was looking at those stats, and Marvel's at one of those stadiums where we've really struggled, and I thought that ball movement with attacking handball really got us moving and sort of played to St Kilda's game plan of sort of let the other opposition have the easy kick, the easy chip pass, and we'll wait for them to make a mistake. But, yeah, we made plenty of mistakes, but it wasn't through taking the easy chip. We really used the corridor and attacked hard, and it paid off.
Yeah, mate, absolutely it did. And I think in a post-Luke Hodge world, and this is no disrespect to the boys that were in between, but I feel like for the first time probably in years, and I'm talking years before I was born, we had leadership questions. But, of course, with your Hodges, your Mitchells, your Crofts, they were all good. In the post-Luke Hodge era, I think we had one of the best captain's games you're going to see. James Sicily having 43 disposals would make sense if the Saints had kicked like 5 goals, 22. But they only kicked 6 behinds on the day. He still had 43, and when he gets to play on the Anthony Caminidis and Cooper Sharmans of the world and not the second talls or even Max King, as he might have done in weeks gone by, has just proven what a genuine star he is and why he shouldn't play forward.
Yes, all right, Daz, rub it in. I don't mind, Can he play both ends? He'll just run down the other end and chip in for a goal when it's needed.
Any chance he can kick it to himself?
It is a very...
Could that work?
His stats of goal conversions from the back line is insane. So, yeah, I'm with you there. All right, we keep him down back.
Yeah, absolutely. Fred summing it up beautifully. He was impassable, wasn't he? What? And in case you thought, wow, this clean cut, good boy intercepting defender was on show and he was not his usual self, mate. He had to go and get himself rubbed out for a week for collecting Anthony Caminiti in the head, and clearly the Hawks thought to themselves it wasn't worth the challenge, which I agree with under the rules. Whether the rules are good or not is a different discussion, but under the rules as they're written, mate, which is kind of how we got to look at these things, I think take the week and run is the right option from the Hawks, and concussion's a serious thing, and as we know, mate, whenever there's like a hot topic in the AFL, you've got to overreact first and then bring it back to some sort of normality. So I think we've just got to take it, cop it, and move on to Port Adelaide without the skipper. And I wonder who takes the reins next. Is it Mitch Lewis, who I definitely believe is going to be the next skipper of the Hawks?
Yep. No, it was. I'm just glad, like you said, that there was no concussion involved. Young Caminiti had a bad enough day as it was, let alone copping that hit. So I'm glad he's okay. But yeah, I guess the way the game's going, it's part of the rules. So it was just a little bit lazy, clumsy. I don't know what you call it, but it was just shouldn't have happened, and it did. So he's paying the price for it, unfortunately.
I'll tell you what it was, and I'm gonna steal the quote from Triple M's The Midweek Rub. It was on brand for a guy with white line fever. He was going that well. He was that happy with his performance. It was a I can do anything kind of attitude, and then I think he found out pretty quickly, I don't think you can, sis. But my God, he was good, as most of the Hawks were. I know Smithy's joked on the podcasts and such that writing the review for a loss versus a win is extremely different. And I completely agree, because the first one he gave me, I think, was against the Giants, in which we lost thanks to Harry Himmelberg doing miraculous things at both ends. And I think what was really pleasing, mate, as I rolled through, and it'll be the same for those that watched the game either more or less intense than I did, is just how well it was from a team perspective. We didn't have to rely on 3 or 4 blokes to get us over the line. We had winners on every line, which is what the Sam Mitchell game plan is going to be all about.
Yep, no, we certainly did. But quickly, just to touch on Sicily before we move on from that, I was really glad that his response after it happened went to Caminiti. You okay? Like, it was all genuine. So credit to Sicily for the way you handled that. Talking about the boys. Fine. Yeah, go mate.
No, I'm all right. I do like this comment from Fred. I don't usually go down the petty path, but Carlton's only win at the moment can come at the tribunal. Adam Chera got off somehow. We know what happened with Cripps last year. Nick Newman's been let off as well. I think of all the players to be cleared, Carlton are the only team that have had more than 2 players get off. It's extraordinary. They can't kick goals, but they can get away from the tribunal. And I actually think they're being punished and made to play, which I think is actually a smart move by the AFL. That's level 200 IQ there. I like it.
Yep. Well said, mate. I like it.
Who do we think replaces Sicily this week, mate? I've found the question and now I've moved past it. Nick, one of our favourites, jumping in.
And Fred with the answer.
Is Denver the answer? In the age-old Denver v. Jack Scrimshaw it's going to be this week. I wish we could know how many Port Adelaide talls were playing, because you wouldn't suspect that Ollie Lord and a bunch of smalls are going to be enough to justify playing 3 tall defenders.
And Scrimshaw's natural game, playing that intercept marking role, which Sicily does for us, he's a good fit.
Yeah, I think he is as well. And of course, mate, Adelaide Oval is not an oval that worries us at all. Last time we played Port over there, round 2 last year, fresh off, I think we beat North in that round 1 game, and geez, didn't we just light up Adelaide Oval? My goodness, the coming of age for Connor McDonald, that set shot from the pocket, and we went, whoo, all right, we've got something in this young kid. And from there, mate, it was an outstanding evening.
It was very enjoyable, and it was a shock to the system for a lot of people. And let's hope we can repeat that. But last time we played them, they weren't coming up off 7 straight wins. Is it 7, 8?
8
straight wins. Now they're looking pretty bloody good, mate, and they're going to be a hard task this week.
Yeah, I'll talk about Port a bit more in the sec, but I love this from Craigo. Now, by we, I mean the Hawthorn family. We understand what Cozzy's gone through, both confidence-wise, injury-wise, role-wise even. for as much as maybe the boots have been dug into him by fans, more than happy to put our hands up, mate, and give credit where it's due. He kicked through the footy beautifully. Off the boot, it didn't look like missing. But what I love was the celebration. I don't know if you've gone back and watched it, but the amount of blokes that didn't come over and just give him a pat on the back. I thought Connor McDonald was going to jump into him and break his collarbone at one point. He jumped that high, did C-Mac. I love the fact that they got around him, and we want Cozzy to succeed. I think Hawthorn fans want him to succeed, and that's where the frustration comes from. That could be a moment for Cozzy, and what a moment it was.
Yeah, definitely. To be able to go back and under that pressure, he knew what the score was, he delivered. So, like you said, getting those inside 50 marks, going back, taking that responsibility, that's what we need for him to do on a more regular basis.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's got a decent enough opportunity. I know Port Adelaide is second on the ladder, but tall forwards are their kryptonite at the moment, especially with their injuries. And this is now the fifth time that they've had an 8-game winning streak in their history. Never had ninth. Never had 9, so they've always lost that 9th game. And in case anyone's worried, will that make Port a premiership contender? Well, those 4 years that they did have the 8-game winning streaks, they lost the prelim in all 4 years. 02, 03, 14 to us. And 2021, or 2020, to the Tigers. And, what a heavily favoured game that was to the boys in yellow and black. But don't tell that to my in-laws, my goodness. Alrighty, a few more comments coming through. If you've just joined us, we are going to get one of our mid-season draftees on to have a chat with us at about 8:40, so that's about 25 minutes away, closer to half an hour, I should say. So please stick around for that. If Cozzy was a few years older, we wouldn't bother, but he's the right age profile. Solid mark will come good. Well, his marking's fine. He had 6 of them. He only touched the ball 10 times. That's all he needed. Max King also touched the ball 10 times. He kicked 4. Cozzy kicked 1, 2. So he's not that far away, Chris. But what we've noticed, especially with blokes that have worn that number 23 post-bud, is being able to either A, take those chances, and B, convert those shots. And once that happens for Cozzy, I agree that it's going to happen for him, but it's how much time does he have? Well, logic tells us that it's the second half of the year, and then the decision will be made there. But prematurely deciding whether or not he's going to make it is pretty foolhardy. We just got to react and see what happens.
My biggest rife with him at the moment is going up for a pack mark when he should be staying down on the ground and maybe blocking for his other tall forwards. So if he can get that part of his game right, knowing when to go and when to stay down, I think that'll make a huge difference. But just his pressure, his tackling pressure's improved, so he's getting more involved in the game. So let's just progress. Hopefully he can keep improving.
Absolutely, mate. Con, massive shout out here. Lockie Bramble played his best game for the Hawks. Absolutely, he did. Now, that first contest that he had, I know I've written about it in the player review, so I do apologise for repeating myself, mate, but he had about 3 fumbles and 1.5 turnovers, and I went, oh boy, this is going to be a day to forget for him. But on that wing, he looks good. Another 23 disposals. I think he's had 2 contested possessions in the last fortnight, because he's clearly that one of those link-up boys, and he doesn't have to get his snout dirty and maybe get a rushed kick away and potentially turn the ball over. With time and space, he's hurting the opposition, mate, which we love.
I think that's what his message from Sam would be, is use your weapons. And his weapons is he is a good kick and he can run. So find the space, be that link-up, and, we're seeing the rewards for it.
I'll tell you what I do love about the Sam Mitchell era, and believe me, that list could be a mile long at this point. I'm just going to go with the one dot point here, is he clearly wants his players to express themselves with what they can do, whilst accepting that there are things that they can't do. And I personally, I love that, because you win games of footy by doing more things around the ground better than your opposition. No team, I don't care if it's Essendon of 2000, where they lost 1 game. I don't care whether it's us in 1989. I don't care what go and find a team. None of them were ever perfect, but they did enough things better than their rivals to get the job done. And I think that's what we're building here, mate. We're never going to be a perfect football side, but geez, if we can get the game on our terms, good luck stopping us. St Kilda didn't. We obviously know West Coast didn't. And it was good to see that the game plan against the Eagles, number 1, worked, and it was transferable to a better pressure team.
Yes, talking about Sammy and something I sent to you boys in the group chat, Caroline Wilson taking a step backwards and apologising for attacking Sam and some of his decisions he's made, and just saying that, Sam was right. I don't know if you guys watched the footy classifieds. She had a big dig, but kudos to her for saying she was wrong.
At least one of them's withdrawing it, mate. That's all I'm going to say. It hasn't been a good week for the Hawks in the media this week, and this isn't the platform to talk about why. I will say this, Hawks fans, I'm going to give you two pieces of advice. Now, I do understand that this is coming from a 25-year-old idiot in Frankston, so please take that on board before you accept that what I'm going to say is a fact. But number one, stop listening to journos who don't know. They don't know the ramifications to come from whatever comes next with the investigation. Okay, not that we're going to talk about it, but they don't know until there's an announcement. They don't know, so don't get yourselves into a tizzy. It ain't worth it. And number two, we ain't losing draft picks. I know that contradicts my first point, but we didn't cheat. Okay, they're not going to take draft picks off us. I don't know where this. I know where it came from, and I probably know why it's happening, but let's just relax, focus on this week, and let what happens behind the scenes happen. I promise you, we are not going to lose our first round pick this year at all. That is not happening. So relax, focus on the Hawks, focus on your family, your mates, and let the idiots decide what's going to happen and just stay out of it, all right? So, oh boy, Chris, okay, Frankston brings back memories. Well, I'm sorry, Chris, because I'm assuming they're not going to be good ones. All right, let's move on, mate, to the mid-season draft. So we did take the two selections, whereas the Giants didn't take any, as we saw having two selections. But Clay Tucker, after North didn't do what we thought was the right thing and picked him up, so we're very happy that he did. And then we picked up Brandon Ryan, the centre-half forward from Northern Bullants, who you picked up something very interesting in terms of the last time that he played, mate.
Clay Tucker or Ryan you were talking about, sorry.
Brandon Ryan, yep.
Yes, Brandon Ryan. So Brandon Ryan at the Bullants, he's missed the last three games. They had a bye and played Frankston and Coburg before that. But, like you said, interestingly enough, his last game was against Box Hill. So now he's pulling on the Box Hill or Hawthorn jersey next week.
Yeah, which is pretty great. Barry, Cozzy, go back. Nope. Sorry. I don't know what it is, actually. This is a fair question. I would love to go through our list. It's not going to happen tonight, Hawks fans, so don't stress. But how many blokes that we are playing out of drafted position? Because Sicily was drafted as a forward. Cozzy was drafted as a defender. I think Lockie Bramble was brought on board originally as a half forward. I could be wrong on that. Blake Hardwick led the goal kicking for the under-18 comp, and he's now a shutdown defender who uses the ball beautifully. I don't know where we're going with this, mate. Athletes over footballers is something that was such a hot topic in the AFL. It's not even that we're taking athletes, we're taking footballers first and figuring out where they gel.
Yes, sorry, mate, but I have to throw this one in. Quickly run with that before I cut you off.
No, you're right, mate. Go ahead.
This is the one I wanted to point out, and I'm not sure if it's directed at you or not, but you were a big fan of Narkle. Any comments there?
The Sparkle note. Look, I'm going through the 5 stages of grief at the moment, and I prefer not to do it live, but I'll take a moment and reset. I am surprised we didn't go with Jack Buller, but clearly we wanted the Victorian lad with maybe a bit more athleticism, which is what Brandon Ryan's got over Jack. But I was stunned that North Melbourne took yet another small forward with the likes of Paul Curtis and Phoenix Spicer and Eddie Ford and Cam Zerha and Harry Sheasel and the one other bloke that I can't remember the name, Braden George, who they drafted last year, and they went with Robert Hanson Jr. And I went, okay, well, mock drafts. I think Cal Toomey did one on Gettable. That's gone out the window as well. So I was very happy to get Clay, and I thought Buller over Brandon, but geez, when you watch the highlights of this kid play, no wonder we like him. Holy moly.
Looks very impressive. And is it cousin of the Ryan?
Luke Ryan. I got that wrong posting on behalf of Talking Hawks, so I do apologise to those on Facebook and Twitter. I was very excited that we got Brandon Ryan, and I said he was the cousin of Liam. He's not. He's the cousin of Luke, and a lot taller than him too, which is good.
But he said he regularly stays in contact with him and, gets some tips, and it's obviously paid off.
Absolutely, and not a lot for the Sparkle Knuckle, but that's okay. He's not on our list anymore, and hopefully he doesn't play against Port, because if he does and plays well, I feel like I'm going to get blamed for it.
There's a chance of that happening, isn't there?
Absolutely, there is, mate. Huswaite, surely the next to debut. Well, him and Bailey McDonald, mate, have been talked about in a big way, which we like.
Yeah, so I'm a big fan of Huswaite myself, but I can probably, like you said, see Bailey McDonald getting the gig first.
Absolutely, he does. He's the man with a very long neck. He's got the VB look about him, Henry, and I like it. He's gets more space than anyone else on the ground, and he's a beautiful handball. And I know you might say, "Oh, really? Is that a big deal?" Well, our former coach was a pretty good handballer as well, and that worked out pretty well for the Hawks.
Just needs to work on that mullet, mate.
Oh, mate, absolutely. Doesn't he? Mate, I can't talk, mate. I went to the barber today and lost 3.5 kilos, I reckon. My goodness me. Ned Long, I wanted to talk about Ned. I'm really glad someone else has brought him up, mate. 34 touches, 3 goals, 12 tackles, 6 clearances. I mean, depth. That's all we're looking for. I'm not the kind of person that goes, all right, he's had a best on ground, he needs to play. Why would you change a winning side, especially a winning midfield? But, geez, to have him waiting in the wings, mate. Whoo-hoo.
There is one player coming out this week, so there's definitely one coming in.
Yep, absolutely. There is a lot of love for Clay Tucker as well, which we like to see. Robbie Campbell's an interesting player comparison. He did go forward for the young, I think they call them the Young Guns, against Vic Country a couple of weeks ago, which is good. I want to see the double Big Macs on the park, Crago. I like that. I like that better than the drive-through, mate. Then we go. Sean, don't know why we didn't get Buller. Clearly we rated Brandon Ryan highly, I should say. 2 years younger, 5 centimetres taller. So that probably helps as well. So There's the answer there. The other man who I wanted to have a bit of a chat about, mate, and I want your theory here. Now, I don't remember if it was you who jumped on and we talked about just how much pressure he was under, but Jimmy Warple. 8 kicks, 16 handballs, so he definitely used the ball a bit better. He had more score involvements than any other player in the league last week.
Yeah. It's insane. And
12. 12 out of his 24 touches led to scores.
The fruits of his rewards have been good. He brings that dynamic to the midfield bunch, and it's working.
Absolutely it is, mate. And this is a great question. We went into this preseason going, the midfield's in trouble. Midfield's in trouble, but at least our backline's all right. And then we started leaking points and winning clearances, mate. The two questions that need to be asked, and one of them's very dangerous considering the line of work we're currently doing, but did we underestimate the youth of this group, or do we not know what we're talking about?
I don't know. I really don't know. But I guess the ruck department's probably the big thing that's changed, and having that consistent ruckman with the midfield group. But it's a good change, and we can top up the back line a bit easier than the midfield, that's for sure.
Yeah, mate, absolutely. Jed Rule didn't get picked up, which I noticed, which was interesting, but fingers crossed he can have a better chance. Richard, Boxer. Well, Ethan Stanley must be congratulated as well. I think of all the places he might have imagined himself ending up this evening. I don't think Freo would have been the top of his list, but he's off to the west to join a relatively underwhelming sort of wing group. There does Ethan, of course, guys like Liam Henry, who I was a big fan of, but Nathan O'Driscoll, who I think is a very good player. Matty Johnson, before he goes in the midfield, Neil Erasmus, they're all unproven guys. He's going to take his talents there, so huge congratulations to him as well. And this is a difficult one for me, mate, but selfishly, I'm really glad that Box Hill have got to keep Callum Brown.
Yep. I agree with that. Like you said, we've got to pay tribute to Box Hill's efforts in, making these players what they are. I think Ethan Stanley's the Frankston YCW boy, isn't he? That we've plucked.
Yes, Stonecat. Yep.
Yeah. So, what a rise that is to, jump up from that league of footy coming to the VFL and then bang, AFL contract.
Yeah, absolutely. Ryan Marriage as well.
Do you think Freo taking him was a positional thing? Like you just said, they're pretty stacked, or is it best player available or best prospective talent? What do you think Freo's angle was there?
Yeah, I honestly think it's a bit of both. I think they're not going to complain. They're relatively okay. I am surprised they didn't go Buller. They're still a tall forward short, in my opinion. I know Amos has been amazing amongst all current forwards. He has the most goals and contested marks after 13 games and I'm talking Curnow, Mackay, Hawkins, Cameron. He's got all them covered at the moment, which is amazing for them. But their second tall still to be figured out. Is it Tracy? Does it need someone else to be drafted? But when you got a kid that good and that smart, his footy IQ's through the roof. I don't blame them for that. I'm surprised that Cal Brown didn't get picked up. I'm trying to think of all the former AFL players that got picked up. Was it just Caleb Poulter and Sparkle?
Yes, it looks like that's all I've got on my list here. Yep.
This is making for good live streaming, Daz. Stick to the script, will you? My goodness. Too many games with a genuine key defender. We look better with blank and also Josh Weddle. I mean, mate. Joshy Weddle. Yes, please. My goodness.
And talking about that, he was having a quieter game until that last quarter when we had our little comeback blitz where I think he had 8 possessions in the last quarter. So good response from him after his Rising Star nomination with, 28 touches?
Yeah. Yep, absolutely is.
So it would have been easy for him to sort of go back into his having a quiet game and, go into a shell, but he really stepped it up and, helped us win the game.
Mate, absolutely. And Noodles' tipped assist in the final stanza was a beauty. Finished off by Punky. And I don't know whether you'll be able to picture the kick in your head straight away. Dylan Moore, his pass to Cozzy, is that the field kick of the year? Again, if you don't remember it, this is going to make for really poor live streaming. But how he made that kick without going the old banana check side from whatever part of the country that you reside in, how he found him, I've got no clue. But that is one of the better kicks I've seen.
And you seen they had the loose players back, so it was the right option. To kick long probably would have been a mistake. So, and Cozzy picked the right time to push off his opponent and get that space in front, and Morey just set it up perfectly.
Mate, absolutely. Do you think we put too much onus or expectations on Mitch Lewis? He kicked 3-2. Dougal Howard had no factor on the game at all, and he kind of just goes, oh yeah, that's kind of what Mitch Lewis does. Like that's extraordinary for a bloke who's, not even played 80 games yet.
Yeah, I think the AFL backmen do respect him and what he's capable of. So, he definitely got the chocolates on the weekend, didn't he? But
absolutely he did.
Your man, Morey, what a game.
Mate,
He's been a little bit quiet this year, but he shot the house down, didn't he? What a game.
Yeah, he did. So last year, what I've noticed with Morey, and as you know, mate, no one is a stauncher defender of the old 19-1 than me, but last year he was the guy that was getting up the ground, winning the footy and beating them on the way back and was still able to hit the scoreboard. Whereas this year is he was getting up the ground, but potentially wasn't hurting them on the way back. Now, he did have some poor games. I think of the game at Norwood, he wasn't at his best, and hey, if you're expecting him to have 25 every week, then I can't help you. But geez, there's not too many more blokes you'd rather go and play footy with. The heart on the sleeve, mate. He's got brown and gold in his shoes, I reckon. It's unbelievable what he's running with.
And I'll tell you what, his little forward partner in crime, Sammy Butler, he had a handy little game. He did. Fitting in quite nicely. Getting a win against his brother, he would have been happy with that.
Best 70-plus pick in a while. Well, of all pick 76ers in history, he's already kicked the most goals. So, not bad by Mitch Lewis. Seamus Mitchell, did he get robbed for Rising Star? Look, the bias fan in me says yes, but Jai Amos, I think's kicked 8 goals in the last 3 weeks, and he gets the nod, but Seamus will get one, and that's fine. Did he get injured? He didn't. He did get a knock, but he has trained this week fully, kicking off both feet and doing beautifully. So, beautiful. I know that the Will Day and James Hird comparisons are coming thick and fast, mate, which is just, my goodness, extraordinary, which we love. And Will Day, let's talk about him. I think he had 24 on the weekend, and we're considering that quiet. Is that just how good he is, or...?
I think so, and it's our probably expectation, I guess, since he's hit that midfield and he's just owned it. I was questioning if his body's going to be able to handle it, and he's thriving with the body contact. I'm loving it. So yeah, bring it on, more of that, Daisy, please.
Absolutely, and we're going to have one of our draftees join us, hopefully, in about 10 minutes' time. So go nowhere, Hawks fans. Let's talk about Port a little bit, mate. Second on the ladder, 8 in a row. We've already talked about that. Zach Butters, who, Hawks fans, I've got to be honest, is my favourite player outside of Hawthorn. I love Zach Butters. And if Smithy was on tonight and not swanning away in Queensland like the Western Suburbs flog that he's trying to pretend that he's not, but he absolutely is. Is a star. Connor Rose's been awesome. We know about Jason Horne-Francis complementing that midfield. Forward line's looking pretty good. I still think we can get them in their defence, mate. I think they work as a group, and if we can get some separation, I still see that as a point that we can win the game.
Yeah, well, the forwards have really been working well in their spacing on the ground. So, like I said, the last 2 games, 32 scoring shots and 28 scoring shots. Yet last week was quite inaccurate. But if we can get anywhere close to 28 scoring shots and keep the inside 50s, I guess, up over the 50 mark, we'll definitely be in the game for sure.
Yeah, absolutely we will. Butters Brownlow being talked about, and geez, you're not far off wrong. His ability to drive out of contests with his legs is extraordinary. Would you rather Jai or Jimmy Warple stand next to Jason Horne-Francis at the first bounce? Now, we're not suggesting anything silly, not wax or anything like that, but it is undeniable that his contested ball work this year has been awesome. So which of our contested beasts stands next to him, Jai or Jimmy?
I'll give it to Jimmy, I think, and because I just want him giving the ball out to one of our runners on the outside, which I think you pointed out his handball ratio on the weekend. Less kicks, more handballs, and I think that we need more of that from Warple.
Yeah, absolutely. What I do like is I'll just jump back up here. Yep, 2 young midfields will be amazing to watch. I've just lost your comment. I apologise. Will Charlie Dixon be back? Not sure. Haven't really kept abreast of Port Adelaide's injury list. Let's hope not. Fingers crossed. 2 young midfields will be great to watch. Con, I couldn't agree with you more. I'd love Jai to go to JHF. He's not a massive fan of the tackles, is Horne-Francis. And let me tell you, if Jai is able to get out of contests with his legs, my goodness. I like it. Nashi to be that. Do you reckon we forget how big he is? He's 198 centimetres, Chris. The man is a brute.
He certainly is.
It's. I don't know what they're feeding him there in Ireland, but he's an unbelievable fitness freak. And again, speaking of blokes that we now expect to just play well, if I had sat here 12 months ago and said that in a 7-week period he's going to average 26.5 touches, he would have reached through your screen and smacked me.
Yep, no, definitely, mate. He's shot from out of nowhere. We didn't expect. I guess we might have hoped for some improvement, but nothing to the level of what he's produced. So. And again, it's just another player that we now expect to do that week in, week out. And we know you're going to have a quiet game every now and again, but if he can keep producing that, we're going to be winning lots more games.
Absolutely.
Just on Charlie Dixon, he's listed with a quad injury and a test. That's all I can give out.
Gee, so that's just splinters with more information. My goodness. Which I like it. Rosie is a sneaky cheat. Jeepers, that's a big call. All right, interesting. Now, Sean, I don't know whether you're doing this to annoy me, but stop it, please. It's just no. I'll tell you what it does do. Does Brandon Ryan as a centre half forward make us now go to? I reckon it now narrows us down to 3 blokes that will take it pick 3 if we don't move up, which I don't think we will, and that's Nick Watson, Ashton Moyer, and Zane Dersma. I reckon they're the only 3 right now at this point that the Hawks will be looking at. All offensively gifted players. Dersma, the taller one. Watson's the magician, and Moyer is your footy IQ guy. But Hawks fans, it's one of those 3. Keep an eye on them so far, and we'll see how we go. But no, I don't want any... Sean, you know what you're doing, mate. You know how to get dazzling, I understand.
Put out the book and the bait, and he lured you in.
Absolutely, he did. But hey, I'll talk about the draft all day long, mate. Lloyd Meek.
Getting better week by week. Yes, he is.
Just dropping dope rhymes there, which I like.
Oh, well, it was written there for me.
Absolutely, it was.
No, I guess that's what we want from the big boy. He's got the body. Use it. We just want more of that marking, I think. I think the ruck work will take care of itself. But, if we can get that contested marking, and just marking in general, he should be a link man. Kick the ball to him, put it on his head, get the runners running past, give the handball.
Yeah, he's got to stick those marks though, mate. Sometimes he puts those big mitts of his up, and I'm worried he's going to dislocate some fingers because they're hitting the fingers and they're going straight through. And we love Lloyd. I reckon he's been one of the more underrated pickups. Jaeger doing very well for the Dockers as well. Cam McKenzie, I've just lost the comment there. Barry, I'll scroll back up to you, mate. Watch McKenzie this week. Will play well. I think you're trying to say Rosie there. How have you seen Cam McKenzie start as a Hawk, mate?
I guess again, it's an expectation thing. We know he's a good ball user, so he probably doesn't need to touch the ball as much as someone who's getting the numbers and winning more ball. And I think he's just finding his place within the team. I guess I've seen him work very hard and just be in the wrong spot at the wrong time. So if he can start making better choices as far as positioning goes, and he's going to get a lot more ball, and we're going to benefit from his good ball use.
Absolutely. Con, I'm with you. I'm all in on Zane Dersma. 190 centimetres, hits the scoreboard. He's big, he's tough. I like it. Max Lynch, I do think there is a genuine argument to be made that we might not see Lynchy, which would be extraordinarily unlucky, mate.
Sorry, I was sidetracked by...
No, that's all right. No, you're all right. Maxi Lynch, if we don't see him again, it could be a big reason why we got Clay, but he's been concussed, he's been stung by a bee, he's got COVID. It's been extraordinarily unlucky. And for a bloke who's reportedly a ripper as well, that's the last thing that you want.
Oh, it's such an unlucky story. Like you said, couldn't have happened to a nicer guy. So we hope he gets the outcome that he desires. But at this point in time, it's not looking good for the big guy.
No, it's not, which is unfortunate.
Yeah, like you said, it probably is an insurance policy.
Yeah. Do we not look at Archer Reid? Oh, I think we still might. But we'll see how we go. I think North would be silly not to take him, but North haven't taken a key forward since, I think, Nick Larkey at this point, and that feels like a decade ago. Nate Caddy, another one to look out for. Great call. I don't mind Nate Caddy at all, but I still have Dersma ahead of him. Justin, I agree. Stocks are definitely rising. Played very well for Carlton's VFL side on the weekend. Kicked a couple, looked good. Sean, this is a nice little... a comparison. The circumstances are, but a bit like Will Pukowski. Yep, I agree. We got a few more comments. Jeez, they're coming in thick and fast. We love it when you guys are putting us under the pump to find them. Aaron here, great comment. This is the one I was trying to look for earlier. It's so good that I've just missed it completely. Here we go. How does Ward get back into the team bar an injury? And do you see him as a midfielder? Where do you see Joshy Ward? Right there.
I don't know if he's got what we want on the wing as far as speed, and he might have the tank. I don't even know if he's got the tank for a wing role, but no, I can only see him playing midfield, really. I think they've toyed with him, playing that little flank role, but I think he's pure midfielder. So it might take a little bit longer for him to get a regular spot in that side. Like you said, that's a pretty tough midfield to be cracking into at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, when the midfield's going that well that we don't actually need him to play yet, I mean, you can see it as an indictment on him if you want. I'm not going to see it like that. Cooper Stevens as well, I'm seeing some mentions in the comments as well. I mean, kick 2 had 19 on the weekend. He's just got to get back from a couple of concussions. As we know, Con, yes, we do. Centre half back, he's dominating at under 18s level in the Sandful. He had like 30 and 14 marks a couple of weeks ago. I don't want to bring too many Americanisms in here, but we've got to let the boy cook. He's doing beautifully at the moment, Will McCabe. So he will be a Hawk, I am reasonably confident. And let's hope that that bid comes after pick 12 so we don't have to give up too much in any points. Jeff, yes, I see Joshy Ward as a wingman. I don't know how we're going to have about 8 wingmen in the 22 and play them all, but that's a different issue.
All right, Daz Link,
I think.
I'm going to have to cut you off here, mate, because we have our special guest. Matty's giving me the hold up. We'll go ahead. What are we doing?
No,
Let's bring him into the stream.
Absolutely, we will. I'll let you bring him in, mate. The newest Hawk on the list, Clay Tucker. How are you, mate? Thank you so much for joining.
G'day, lads. Thanks for having me. I'm very well.
Oh, look at that,
mate! I can already hear it in your voice, mate. The giddiness. I wish I had something better to say than congratulations. Did you? I'm going to ask you a very selfish question first because I need this for my sanity. Did you expect to go to the Hawks? Did North or West Coast talk to you, and did you have any indication that you were going anywhere else, or did you go into tonight thinking you were going to be a part of the Brown and Gold?
Yeah, look, I spoke to North and West Coast, and they both said to me that they weren't interested or they weren't going to take me. So, and obviously spoke to Hawthorn a couple of times. But yeah, look, I actually didn't know where I was going to go, to be honest. I thought it might be GWS. That's where I was kind of accepting the going to state. But yeah, so happy to be here.
That's awesome, mate. You've nominated for an 18-month contract. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Was that a strategic thing to for your longevity, or what was your decision behind nominating for 18 over 6?
Well, I'm probably, the tours take a little bit longer to develop, so it's always going to be a longer contract anyway. So there was no real strategy behind it. Just, get my foot in the door and, stay at a club for a year and a half. So, yeah, just no real plan, just what we kind of went with in the end.
So for those that aren't a draft nuffy like myself, mate, and I hate to be that group interviewer that makes us go around in a circle and talk about ourselves, but just let us in on your journey, mate. What kind of player you hope to be and the player that you are. Introduce yourself to the Hawthorn family.
Yeah, so I'm a ruckman, obviously. I like to spend most of my time in the ruck. I feel like I've got my strengths in my ruck, but I've also, spent most of my junior career playing forward. So I've only spent playing ruck really the last 2 years. So kind of late growth spurt. So yeah, I like to say my forward craft is another string to my bow, I guess you could say. But yeah, spend some time down forward too. I reckon I can have an impact in both areas of the ground. But yeah, so that's how my position sort of looks.
How did your day play out, mate? It would have been pretty nervous leading up. Spend it with your friends and family. What did you do during the day?
Well, to be honest, I just woke up and did uni work. So I've been pretty busy with some uni stuff, home exams in a week. So yeah, look, I actually wasn't even thinking about it, to be honest, until an hour and a half ago when I was absolutely sweating. But I just had my family over, and yeah, just a few mates are downstairs now. So yeah, it was a good experience.
Well, how are the uni studies going, mate? Because I don't know how much of the footy media you keep up with, but Hawthorn champion Jason Dunstall thinks that the tall blokes don't have a lot between the ears. So how is uni going, and what are you studying?
Yeah, it's actually going well. It's picking up now because we've got exams in a week. But yeah, I think Big Jace's bad call because me and Ramo in the same exam last week. We both did an exam together, so in the same course. So
there we go.
Yeah, I'm doing commerce. So yeah.
Oh, beautiful, mate. I like it. And you had a very good outing for the Young Guns versus, I think it was Vic Country, which kind of got you onto the radar of most blokes. Now, Cal Toomey didn't exactly say it like this, mate, but we can be honest on this show. You took the piss. You went forward, you hit the scoreboard, you played well in the ruck. And what was that like to go up against some of the better guys your age now that you can take that next step and hopefully take on some of the better ruckmen or defenders in the comp?
Yeah, it was good. It was also like one of the games where I was able to spend some time down forward, so it was good to have an impact down there. But yeah, that was one of my favourite games for the season. It was good to kind of started a bit of form towards the mid-season where I was able to put a nice few games together. So it was good. It was good to have an impact going forward, kick a few. So yeah, I was pretty happy.
Beautiful. I like it, mate. And, not that we want you to talk up your abilities too much, but you can. There's no room for modesty here, mate. But Jeff asking us, how do you rate your skills overhead?
Yeah, I reckon that's probably is one of my biggest strengths. I like to say I'm my ruck craft and my marking is my two strengths that I like to use. I feel like they've really picked up this season. So yeah, those are probably my biggest strengths, I guess.
And one of the more dangerous questions, mate. Sorry, Chris, just to cut you off quickly. Who'd you follow as a kid, mate?
I was a Carlton supporter. Yeah.
Oh, well, that's all right, mate. You get to come to some success. Yeah. They're going like a busted, so that's beautiful.
Yeah, take my mind off them for a while, which is good.
Absolutely. Go for it, Chris. I'll hold my question. But
another question from the fans. Nicknames. Hawks are synonymous for coming up with nicknames. What did you grow up with, and what do you got at the club at the moment?
I'm just Tuck, really. That's what my dad was, and yeah, I've kind of followed that way. But I don't get much else. So I'm usually just Tuck, or yeah.
Well, it's a famous name with the club, mate. Hopefully you can do half of what Tucky did.
Oh, mate, I'll take a 10th if you don't, Michael. I'm not going to put that kind of pressure on you, young man. But the next question, mate, I know you'd love to say this week would be great, but is there any indication of you when you think you'll be ready to play senior footy? Now, obviously, we hope that's on form. We wouldn't wish injury upon anyone, but are you looking to just get yourself indoctrinated with the Hawks this year, attack the preseason and go again? Or do you have belief that if you're required, you'll be able to step in whenever you're needed?
Oh, look, to be honest, obviously we've got, a good group of talls. I've spent the last 4 weeks here training with the lads, and, it's been good to be a part of. And to be honest, I'm just, I just do what the club will do with me. I'm pretty set on, developing as a tall and spending some time around like the big fellas, learning off Miki and Reeves, Ramo, Lynchy. Lynchy was really good on the weekend. But yeah, to be honest, I'll support anything. Like I'm just here for the club now. So whatever they think is I'm gonna be fully committed to. But yeah, that's how I'm kind of going into this. So yeah, whatever the club requires of me, I feel like I'll be ready for it.
Mate, how has Box Hill helped you in your development, in your journey into the AFL system?
Yeah, well, so that was I spent the whole preseason there. So, it's been really good for my footy. It's good to, there's a good culture there as well. Obviously got big Keegan Brooksby there. So he's been really helpful with my development. We did a lot of ruck stuff through the preseason and yeah, just some toll craft as well. So, and even, got Zane as well, who's a part of both programs, and he's also been a massive help, and they've all been a massive support too. So it's been, I've really enjoyed my time there.
And how long do you think it is before it sets in, mate, that you're an actual AFL player?
No idea. Definitely.
I love the excitement. I love that you're on board. It's a pleasure to have you, mate. It's going to be unreal.
Yeah.
How did you end up at Box Hill? Tell us the background of that.
Yeah, well, I spent my draft year at the Eastern Rangers. So there was a few times throughout the season where I'd get down to a couple of trainings and, train with the Box Hill boys, which was a pretty good experience. So that sort of fast-tracked a little bit of my development. And then, yeah, obviously I was unlucky last year with the draft, but I knew that I could come back with Eastern and Box Hill, like a two-way program sort of thing. But yeah, obviously I had Keegan reach out to me pretty early on, and he's been a big support throughout my whole Box Hill journey. But yeah.
Well, what's that like, mate? How do you find that inner resilience? Because as we know, when it comes to draft time, we celebrate those that get drafted, of course. But how long did it take you to accept that you hadn't been picked up by a club, and then where do you find that ability to just go, get stuffed, I'm going to prove you wrong, get myself on a list, which you've obviously done? How long did it take post-draft for you to go, all right, let's get back into this, let's go? Is it straight away, or do you need to go through a grief period? Talk us through the post-draft where you had unfortunately missed out.
Well, I think for me, it's probably different for others and how they approach it. But
yeah, of course.
I like to say I'm pretty resilient, first of all, but it was kind of more just going back to enjoying my footy, I guess. Like, last year I was a bit serious, a bit too serious, I reckon, and just, really focusing on getting drafted. But I've just kind of gone back to just, just enjoying my footy, through both programs, Box Hill and Eastern. And it's just kind of, it's made it more enjoyable, the process of just coming back and developing. So, yeah, I guess enjoyment has been a big factor, especially this year.
Just another one from the fans, mate. Did you play with Josh Bennett at Eastern?
Yeah, me and JV. we're pretty good mates. We played junior footy together too. So yeah, we played at Eastern and we played some junior footy as well together.
You've got a good bond with him then, judging by your smile on your face?
Yeah, I love JB.
We love it, mate. Is there an opposition ruckman? Well, you called yourself a ruckman. We'll go with ruckman. Is there an opposition ruckman that you want to go up against? It, like, if you could pick your debut opponent, I know that it's a huge hypothetical, but is there someone that you'd love to come up against to test yourself against first? Do you look at the Tim Englishes and the best in the competition, or do you look at a guy that you think you might be able to take on? If you could pick, who would you like to play on first?
I haven't really thought too much about who I'd go up against straight away, but I'd love to be able to verse at least one time in my career, maybe not debut, but Big Max Gawn. Obviously, it's an obvious one, one of the best ruckmen in a while. But yeah, I like to say I play similar to him in that I can go forward, I can take marks around the ground. But obviously, he's a big fella, so I'd have some time for that. But no, he'd be one. Throughout my career, I'd say I'd want to play.
Alrighty, Max the Bunny. I like it.
Who's
called it early.
Influential with your development at Box Hill?
Yeah, well, obviously, I think it has to be Keegan. He's been with me for. He's basically done me the whole process through Box Hill. He's been a massive support for me. Definitely through the Box Hill program, and even just my dad as well. He's been my massive support growing up. So he's always been there for me too. So probably those two have been my biggest developers this year, I'd say.
Beautiful, mate. We're just trying to get some more comments in. We've got a couple of nickname suggestions. I don't know whether you want to give yourself the nickname or take it from someone else, but we've got a couple of mentions of Pigeon here for Clay Pigeon. How are we rating that?
Interesting.
Interesting. That's a no, but you're a very polite young man. For Tucker Box, Justin, I'm even calling it that you can do better than that. You're a smart man. We can do better than that. My goodness. And there's a couple of other here. I mean, Jaden Clazer. Okay, interesting. I feel like, Wayne, this is a reference that I don't get. Chris, do you know where Sergeant Tucker comes from?
No, but I do like it. It's a good name, the Sergeant.
I like it as well, mate. So what happens from here, mate? I'm guessing you just report to the club either tomorrow or the next day, even though they're flying out, and then you get set for Box Hill. Is that right?
Yeah, well, I've been training there last 4 weeks, so I'll be in tomorrow as well anyway. So, just go around the club. I think my family will come in as well, so we'll just get a little tour together. But yeah, I'll be in there tomorrow. I'm not sure how it's going to pan out over the next few weeks, but yeah, we'll just see what happens, I guess.
Out of the Hawks ruckman, who's taking you under their wing? Is someone like Maxie Lynch been working with you pretty closely?
Yeah, well, he was really good with me on the weekend, and I also played a pracky match with him at the start of the year when he was also really good. But yeah, with training, all three of them have been really good. Rama and Miki and Reeves have all been on the track, and even Rama on the weekend was really good. Just the feedback we had going two-way was really good. So yeah, all of them are actually pretty good.
Well, mate, we won't take up too much more of your time. Thank you so much for jumping on. A massive congratulations, mate. I hope you get to celebrate this for a long, long time. Good luck with getting to, obviously, Box Hill this week. I know it's going to feel like normal, and fingers crossed we get to see you very, very soon. Thank you for jumping on, and welcome to the Hawthorn family, mate. It's great to have you.
Thanks heaps for your time. Appreciate it.
No worries, mate. Thank you very much.
See you later.
Thanks, mate. See ya. Hey, what a star. What a young man he's going to be. My goodness.
Looks like a good character, doesn't he?
Yeah, absolutely, which is something that we're big on at the Hawks, and we thank him and Box Hill and the Hawthorn Footy Club for allowing him on the show. We're going to finish with our final thoughts on Port, mate, and maybe an early tip margin and maybe a best on-ground prediction. I picked Brocky last week to kick 5, and he had 5 kicks, so he kind of got that wrong for me, Brocky, so you owe me this week. But what do you think about the Port game, mate?
Yeah, well, it's pretty similar to last week, I guess. I favoured the Saints for the win. I think you've got to have Port as favourites, but still give ourselves a sneaky chance to get over the line. I guess the bigger question is, how are we going to do it, Daz?
Yeah, well, I think the easy part of that is we just got to keep the ball out of their hands. Port Adelaide are not only a top 4 side for generating scores from inside 50, but they're also a top 4 side from scoring from clearance, and they're top 6 from transition scores as well. So I know it sounds silly, but they are a ridiculously good side when you actually give them the footy. So if we're able to stop the score from turnover, keep the ball in our hands, and hopefully set our forwards up with good chances, mate. That's all we can do. They're second on the ladder and a good side. I just hope that we don't go away from this game plan, even if it means that we've got to take an L. If the spirit there, the fight is there, and the game plan is still there, I feel like I'm going to be a happy man.
Are we tagging anyone this week, mate? Who the big jobs go to?
I think Nash just runs with whoever the most dangerous at the stoppage is. He's quick enough to be able to follow a Horn Francis or a Butters out of the stoppage. So I think we've got to turn him into a bit of an offensive threat as well, which we can do. And yeah, I don't think we'd bring in Finn for an isolated tagging job. So I reckon we just go head to head. Nuke v Jason Horn Francis, Butters v Nash, and Warple versus, I'm running out of options now, Wines. They've got actually some midfield depth as well. But yeah, I think Port Adelaide probably get the job done. I'm hoping it's by under 5 goals, and I reckon my best on is definitely going to be a midfielder. I reckon Will Day shakes the tag. I don't think Willem Drew's got the size to go with him. I reckon he has 35, a snag, and gets the 5.
You stole my best.
Oh, I have. Okay, well, that's excellent. That's why we should prepare for these things.
That's all right. I've got another one. But before I say that, Carl Amon, is he going to bring some intel from Port?
Ooh, yeah, that'd be nice, wouldn't he?
You think he might, give us some insights in how to stop them and their game plan and whatnot?
I think it might be more of these are the guys that we can maybe get in their head a little bit.
Yep.
More than because we know how much game plans evolve over time. But I reckon if it's, if we give this bloke a bit of lip, don't talk to this bloke, it makes him better. I reckon those are the sorts of things that you'd bring rather than they're going to look to do this, this, and this. Because the coaching, the coaches and the scouting staff will do a better job of that, I think.
All right. Best on, I'm going to go Nashi with 28 touches, a goal, and 8 tackles.
Oh, beautiful. I like it. He's got to make up for that snap. 20 out on your own. Come on, Nashy. Just through the sticks, mate, would be beautiful. Hawks fans, we know it's a bit longer than usual, but we thank Clay Tucker for jumping on. We thank you for jumping on as well. If you want to help sponsor John Newcomb, Denver Granger Barris, and Jasmine Fleming, you can visit talkinghawks.com. Right in the right-hand corner there, you're going to see the sponsor box there. Click on that, fill it out. Beautiful that you can be able to jump on board and help us support 3 Hawks stars. Chris, you've been fantastic tonight, mate. I appreciate you taking the time out. Hawks fans, fingers crossed we can get over the line. A more in-depth opposition analysis will be hitting your podcasting platforms on Friday. And, of course, geez, if the Hawks could get 3 in a row, we could be getting positively giddy on the live stream. It's been a lot of fun, Hawks fans. Until next time, go the Hawks. Have a great weekend. See you later.
See you guys.